Hi everybody, can you hear me back there?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks so much for coming to Centro Hispano of Dane County. For those of you that have never been to Centro, know that this is a hub of activity and a place where we're determined to keep safe and where communities, no matter what, will always feel like that they have a home and they have protection against anything. We know many of our community members have been impacted because of what happened over the weekend. We know that we were surprised last Thursday and Friday when ICE joined us here in our beautiful area to offend our community in ways that we cannot stand for. What I want to make sure everybody understands is that although the last couple of days have been filled with anxiety, have been filled with stress, have been filled with fear, we cannot let that overcome us. We are determined to be dreamers in this community, to aspire, to achieve, to do every single thing that this country is meant to give us. We deserve to be here, and we're here to stay. So I'm supported by a number of people here in the community, people that do amazing work, and I want to make sure to give everybody a chance to speak. What we do want to say is that for those families that have been impacted by ICE, we want to make sure that you continue to call Fabiola Hamden, our Immigration Affairs Specialist. Please, please, please continue to call her here in Dane County. Her number, I'm going to give it out again. It's 608-242-6260. If you call, she's been inundated with calls, please leave a voicemail message. Do not hang up without leaving a message and she'll call you back. There are a couple of specific things. We've been hearing a lot on social media, a lot of chatter. I think it's resulted in a lot of chaos. Please refrain as much as possible from doing that. If you know of an incident of somebody that has been affected, please contact Fabi. Over the weekend, there has been an emergency response team that has been meeting. This includes attorneys, school district staff, City of Madison representatives, Dane County representatives, case managers, lawyers, you name it. And we're really prepared to defend against anything. We're here to assist with emotional support. We're here to be there in whatever way you may need. If you have any questions, please, please, please do not hesitate to call Centro. I'm gonna read our main line again. It's 608-255-3018. Teachers, community members, you can always reach out, and we are proud to be coordinating in any way that we can and supporting in any way that we can. I am going to introduce Fabiola Hamden next, but before I do that, Dane County has been very supportive to our community during times of crisis. One of the most meaningful things that you can do is to contribute to the Immigrant Assistance Fund. This fund is overseen by a network of pro bono legal service providers in Dane County. It's been seeded by the County of Dane and the City of Madison. Please, please give now, because our families desperately need proper deportation defense, legal services, bonds. They need to buy toiletries. They need to receive support if they're going to be in the jails. So thank you again for coming. I'm going to introduce now Fabiola Hamden, who's going to go ahead and say a few words and a little bit of an update on the individuals that have been detained so far. And Fabi is our Immigration Affairs Specialist.
Thank you. Buenas tardes. You have to bear with me. My mind is not here right now. It's with all the families that I've been dealing over the weekend. So far in Madison, this group have been confirmed 11 detainees. And it may seem a small number, but these are the breadwinners from the families. They are the ones that are left behind kids, moms, wives, and the community. So there's a lot of work to do. And also, besides that, we have about, I was just counting now, 18 different detainees from different parts of Wisconsin. Green Bay was in other areas. All I have to say is that I am grateful to have a position with the Dane County, and Executive Parisi cannot be here today, but on behalf of the department, I have to say that in my wildest dream, I was going to be doing this type of job. I love what I do, but then it's also really scary, and at times At times it's just very frustrating, as you can imagine. So, as Karen mentioned, I'm the Immigration Affairs Specialist, and my number, you didn't need it to repeat it because it's out there. It is because we wanted to centralize all the communication. We are very organized here in Madison. At least we have an army, I'm not going to name people, an army of people that over the weekend we got together, we had phone calls, and we really start working in ways and we can be supportive to our families, we can support the detainees, and also I wanted to mention, I think the Collaborative is a great group of agencies. I'm sure my colleagues here are going to talk about that, but I wanted to thank you. Please, it's super hard days for us, not only Latino, but all immigrants. And I know that many out there are saying, what can we do, what can we do? And we are going to give you directions about what to do. But at this point, just be patient, and we all, I think, are going to survive this, this tragedy. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, Fabi. So next, we invited Kashua to come, and I'm really proud that she's here. Thank you, Kashua.
Una pregunta.
Sí, ¿qué pasó?
La información solamente va a ser en inglés porque vemos gente que no entendemos.
¿Podemos hablarlo en español?
Sí, podemos hablar en español también. Lo que estábamos diciendo, señor, lo más importante es mantener la calma ahorita durante estos tiempos. Y lo más imprescindible es que si ha sido afectado por esta situación de la presencia de inmigración en la ciudad, que llame al teléfono de Fabiola Hamden. Ella es la que está tratando de coordinar toda la respuesta a toda la comunidad. Es mucho lo que tiene que hacer, pero tenemos que ir ahí comenzando para que todo sea un poquito más coordinado. Y le voy a mencionar el número otra vez. Se lo doy aquí. Es 608-242-6260. Básicamente eso es lo que estábamos hablando. And so, like I was saying, Kashua is here to say a few words, and I think it's about time to start blurring the lines between our brown and Asian and black brothers and sisters, so I'm really happy that she's here.
Thank you. My name is Kashua. I'm from Freedom Inc. We are an organization that works with Black and Southeast Asian refugees, immigrants, and Americans. And this issue of immigration does not only impact the Latino community, but it impacts all of our communities. And as a small organization, or as a small community here in Madison, many of you don't know, but many of the Hmong and Cambodian folks are here as refugees, and their children are here, but they are also children of refugees, and many of them did not get their citizenship when they were younger. And so the immigration issues have really impacted our community, but we've been really silenced by that. As a community that's already heavily policed, because we live in low-income housing and we live right around this area, the majority of us, having ICE and additional militarism within the city adds additional stress to the families. And I can tell you that we are in crisis also. If one Hmong kid was, a young adult was picked up, and it impacted the whole Hmong community. A Khmer person was picked up, a Cambodian person was picked up, and it impacted the whole temple, the whole community. And so this is something that has also sent our community into crisis. I can tell you that we are now safety planning for grandmothers who are 78 years old about how to respond to ICE when they get to the door. We shouldn't have to teach 8-year-olds how not to answer the doors. We shouldn't have to teach grandmothers and children how to stay safe in the city. It is up to the leaders of the city to stand up and say, you don't want them here, and get them out. It is not acceptable, and we're tired. I just want to say that it's instilled so much fear in this community, and it's not acceptable, and everybody needs to tell them that they are not welcome here and they need to go. And we stand in solidarity, and if people will not protect our families, we will protect our own families, and we will protect those around us. So thank you.
All right, we have a couple of political representatives. Congressman Polkan is here present with us, and also Mayor Soglin. I'm actually going to ask Christine Newman Ortiz to come up to the mic first. Oh, there you are, Christina. I didn't even see you. My gosh. Yeah, and just speak to us a little bit about the statewide approach.
Thank you so much, and I will summarize in Spanish as well. And I also want to recognize that with me is Giselle Vera, who is a Voces member and who is also represents one of the families that was impacted by the raids that have been happening since Friday and actually up till today, that continue. Voy a hacer un resumen muy breve en español al fin, y también está aquí conmigo Giselle Vera, que es una miembro de Voces en la Frontera y que su familia también fue afectada en estas redadas estatal que siguen desde el viernes hasta actualmente hoy. So we, through our chapters since Friday and actually up till today, we continue to get reports of ICE. What we consider a raid because of the number of people being picked up. We have obviously, and these are the corroborated numbers, so through people, so directly through family members or someone close that we're able to corroborate that this is the case. So Dane County, 11, Green Bay, 2, Milwaukee, 2, Wausau, 5, and then we have gotten reports from 2 other cities with another of 8 people picked up, and then reports that ICE still has a presence in Madison and in Green Bay. And you have to ask why, what's happening. This is my opinion, and I think when I share it with others, they agree that that's their take too. I do believe that there is an effort right now to initiate a historic Latino Get Out the Vote drive. Voces de la Frontera Action, our C4 arm, has announced that we are organizing a historic drive to get 48,000 people to turn out November 6th to the polls and to organize through people they know. And that's a real break from past organizing in the past, from traditional canvassing and phone banking. It's an approach that we've used with Day Without Latinx and Immigrants, statewide general strike, where you organize through people you know, and so it's a different orientation. And to really let the Latino voters know who's on our side. This is not just about Trump, who is escalating his war on immigrants, a very xenophobic, white nationalist policies, and he's quite clear about it. And it's about who's helping him. Who's helping him? And people need to know who's helping him. Because they have the ability, if you are a U.S. citizen, 18 years old, you have the ability on November 6th to get them out of office. And to bring in people who are not just going to talk the talk, but walk the walk. And that means we need driver's license back in the hands of immigrants in Wisconsin in 2019. We are also organizing a statewide Know Your Rights forums through all of our chapters where there has been these raids taking place to go over what are your rights, because we also see that ICE is operating in a different way than they have in the past. And Racine, which we had a raid a couple weeks ago, 8 people picked up. We defined that as a raid. ICE stopping people in their own vans. And we know that they're asking questions of anyone and everyone around them and controlling those databases for anyone who has anything, a misdemeanor, visa overstay, to go after them. And so one is people need to know their rights. We got a report from people in detention that ICE was telling them, sign this document, because when you sign this document, we're going to offer you an attorney to represent you. Obviously, that's a lie. People need to know they can be lied to, manipulated. Don't sign. Don't say anything. Ask for your right to speak to an attorney. So those are an example of the kind of things that are happening in real time. One is, we're grateful for the fact that there are local law enforcement officials who are saying we don't want to have any role to play with ICE. We want people to trust us and work with us. in every city, in every county where this stuff is happening, people in the community need to approach their mayor, they need to approach their common council, they need to approach the chief of police, they need to approach the sheriff and say, did you know? Were you helping in any way? Because we don't want that. And on the contrary, we want you to stand up and support us, support our community. Thank you. And so and then the last piece is on this rally is community defense. And as people have been said, what that means, a discussion around the use of protest, civil disobedience, and general strike as we move forward. Because people are angry and they're upset, and we do not want people living in fear. So we're going to use this to convert fear into power, into unity, as we always have. Because here in Wisconsin, sí se puede. So, resumen, one phrase, I'll sum it up in Spanish. So, básicamente, sabemos que redadas han estado pasando estatalmente. I will give the statewide number. We have a statewide number, 414-418-9429. So, si hay una redada o miran a algo pasando, el número es 414-418-9429. Línea de 24 horas, 7 días. También solamente resumen lo que quería decir, que creo que esta política está motivada, como sabemos, por una política de tratar de interrumpir un proceso que Voz de la Frontera Acción está organizando para organizar el voto latino en números históricos para el 6 de noviembre. Y al contrario, tenemos que usar estas tácticas para animarnos aún más fuerte, para animar a latinos votantes a participar el 6 de noviembre, porque no solamente Trump que está detrás de esto, es gente como Walker, que está negando el derecho a licencias, que bloqueó la legalización, una forma de legalización para los padres de ciudadanos y residentes hijos, como TAPA. Son esa gente que también está contribuyendo a esta política de odio y separación familiar. Últimamente estamos organizando reuniones estatales en diferentes capítulos donde vamos a pasar Conozca tus derechos, pedir que hablemos con la policía local o los alguaciles, a pedir su apoyo, no colaboración, y también defensa y cómo podemos, defensa comunitaria y cómo podemos movilizar el voto latino para traer de nuevo licencias de conducir, que va a ser una línea de defensa muy importante para acabar con las tácticas de ICE. Ahora quiero pasarlo a Giselle Vera, que es una de las afectadas de Milwaukee.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi familia, I'll start in English first. As I was being driven to school Friday, I received a text message from my aunt that someone had knocked aggressively at the door, and in a blink of a second, my uncle Eric Gamboa Chai was gone. And so they walked up to our door, and they identified themselves as police officers. And they asked to speak with the owner of a black pickup truck, because there was some problem with it. And as my uncle, rushed to the door to answer the questions for the police officer, we live in a very unsafe neighborhood. And so it's normal to have our law enforcement come and ask questions to us and see if we notice anything strange. So we always cooperate because we live in a really united community. And so once my uncle walks up to the door, they say, well, we're ICE police and you have to come with us because you haven't been behaving well, so you don't have the right to be here anymore. And so as, people are panicking, my aunt, she's older, she's about 50 years old. My little cousin rushes to grab her and drag all the kids up to the attic and hide her, because we were like, they're gonna take her too. So as they run up to the attic and hide, my aunt is panicking, asking them not to do that, that he's the head hold, the leader of the house. He brings food in, he works, who's gonna help her. One of my little cousins has sickle cell anemia traits, and so she can't work. They're basically destroying our family. Why are they doing that? And it's just chaos. So they managed to make him walk out of the house. They handcuff him, and we're asking him, can he please change? Can he he's in his boxers because he just woke up, so can he please put like something on? They're like, no, where he's being taken, he doesn't need anything. And as you know, they're like, can he at least say bye to his kid? Can they see him, hug him? They call his older son down because he was hiding in the attic. And as he grabs his dad, they're like, why is he crying? All right, why is everyone crying? And they just strip them out of his arms, and they're like, don't take him, please don't take him. And as they leave, the youngest, the middle son, is like, so when are they gonna bring him back? When is he gonna come back? And how do you answer that question when we don't even know what's gonna happen afterwards? And even his older son has asked if he could go up to those men and ask to take his place. And so they don't understand how dehumanizing it is to hear afterwards that because he was undocumented and he had a couple of traffic infractions, because sadly, people that are undocumented have to drive without a license to go to work, to provide for their family. They're being dehumanized, and they're being treated like they don't have the right to be here anymore when they're just trying to make a living here. So thanks to my time in Voces and to Voces de la Frontera, I was able to contact people that were able to relieve my family in those crucial 24 hours. But I mean, it's we don't know what we're gonna do now. We were lied to, so my aunt is terrified to open the door now because essentially she turned in her husband to ICE. Disculpen. So, la mañana del viernes, mientras que yo estaba en la escuela, mi tía me mandó un mensaje que los agentes de migración ICE habían llegado a nuestra casa a tocar y se identificaron como agentes de la policía, de nuestro law enforcement. Nosotros vivimos en comunidades que son inseguras, entonces siempre intentamos cooperar y responder sus preguntas cuando viene la policía de verdad a tocar a nuestras puertas. Entonces, cuando sale mi tía, le piden hablar con el dueño de una camioneta negra, y el dueño era mi tío Eric Gamboa Chai. Entonces, cuando él viene, se acaba de levantar, venía en boxers, desvestido porque no había tenido que ir a trabajar esta mañana. Y cuando le pregunta que en qué les puede ayudar, y siempre cooperando con ellos, se identifican como agentes de migración, agentes de ICE. Entonces, en ese momento, todos estaban en la sala, todos los niños estaban despiertos. Estábamos alistándonos para ir a la escuela, para ir al trabajo. Mi prima, la mayor, tiene que agarrar a mi tía, que ya es más adulta, correr con ella y esconderla en el segundo piso de la casa junto con todos los niños, porque acaban de llegar unos hombres altos y de la policía que se están llevando a mi tío. Entonces, claro que nosotros no ponemos resistencia para no hacerlo peor, pero claro que entramos en pánico porque no sabemos qué hacer, no sabemos qué va a pasar. Se está llevando a un padre de familia, a una persona que sostiene su casa como si fuera un criminal. Entonces, piden que lo dejen cambiarse, que dejen que sus hijos se despidan de ella y le preguntan que por qué lloran, que para qué se quiere cambiar si lo que para donde va no va a necesitar nada. Es una manera muy brutal de comunicarse con una persona como si no fueran humanos. como si no tuvieran el derecho de estar aquí por unas simples infracciones de tránsito. Y después de eso se lo llevaron, lo sacaron de la casa con manipulaciones y mentiras. Y ahora pues nosotros no podemos confiar en nuestra propia policía. No sabemos si debemos de abrir la puerta y ahora vivimos en miedo porque no sabemos quién está de nuestro lado y sentimos que todos están en nuestra contra. Y no podemos apoyarnos en nuestras leyes. Por eso centros como Voces de la Frontera fueron crucial para mi familia, ya que ellos fueron las personas a las que nosotros pudimos contactarnos y que ellos empezaron a movilizar a los abogados y a diferentes medios para poder sacar información acerca de dónde estaba mi tío y por qué se lo habían llevado.
Thank you so much. Gracias. I'm actually going to pass it to the mayor because I know you have to leave soon.
Thank you. The last time we met to discuss this was on Friday, where we attempted to get as much information as we had at the time to the larger Madison and Dane County community. Since that time, as has been shared with us, it appears that at least 11 people who are allegedly undocumented were selected by ICE for apprehension. In two different settings, there have been extensive discussions with ICE on the protocol that ought to be used when they enter a community. The first is directly between the Madison Police Department and ICE, and the second is between a committee of the U.S. Conference of Mayors and the Department of Homeland Security. Our message to them is very simple. If you want to make our community safe, if you want to make this nation safer, then come to us and we will tell you if there is anyone of danger in the community. We do not need you making your determination that someone who may have some traffic violations, someone who simply may be undocumented, or have some minor other offenses is someone who is of danger to our community. And it's very simple. We recognize that you are the federal government and that you are unfortunately, the absolute authority in this matter. But if you want credibility and if you truly are committed to a safe community, you will ask us before you do anything. Now, what happened Friday and has continued to happen in the last several days is in contravention of the protocol that had already been established in terms of notifying local officials. And that is one of the problems that we've got at this juncture. But it is not going to change the direction we are going. It was mentioned earlier that both Dane County and the City of Madison fund the collaborative, the organizations that provide legal services. And so one of our immediate objectives right now is to identify every undocumented person that ICE has picked up, and then to use our resources in assisting them in getting the best legal representation. I can tell you right now that those similar funds are in the City of Madison's budget for next year, and we will continue unwaveringly to fund this activity. The second thing that we will do, particularly through Centro, is to support the families who are going to need not just financial but emotional support because of this real tragedy that has come upon us. The last thing I want to mention is that we are going to continue to protest the use of the word police in regards to ICE's activities. They are not police. They are federal agents who are using their authority to come into a local situation. And that deception is one of their many lies that they continue to perpetrate, which is designed to create confusion and to worsen an already bad situation. Later this week, I will be meeting with other mayors who make up the leadership of the Conference of Mayors. And when we meet in Columbia, South Carolina on Thursday, this topic will be brought up. We are not the first city in which there's either been targeted events or raids, but we are now one of probably a dozen cities and counties that have incurred ICE's intrusion, unwanted presence. And what they have done is they've made our situation more dangerous and more terrifying and not safer. The last thing I just want to share with you is that the city of Madison has historically welcomed all people. This action by the ICE agents is not going to deter us one bit from the commitments we've previously made, and we will continue to insist that ICE stay away, because they're clearly, as you've heard, doing more harm and not any good. Thank you.
Congressman Booker.
Thank you. First of all, let me say this. Thank you to Centro, to Voces, to the law enforcement officials who are here today, to the community advocates, to all the concerned citizens. When you look at this room, this is the response that should happen when a group like ICE comes into a community. And I am just very heartened to see the folks that are here to show the interest on this. Many of you know I've been one of the national leading opponents to what's going on at ICE. I have visited legal points of entry. I've visited ICE detention facilities. I've been to juvenile detention facilities in Texas. I've been to processing centers. And I can tell you my concern is that this growingly rogue agency is significantly off its mission. If we remember why ICE was created, it was after 9/11. When we had domestic terrorism. They took activities from 20 different agencies, put it into one, created ICE. It was to protect us domestically from terrorism, and then added things like human trafficking and drugs and gangs, but serious crime. And what we have seen in the last several years especially is going after people with parking tickets, raiding places of employment. There was a doctor in Michigan who in his teens had a disorderly conduct misdemeanor. At 43, they came to deport him back to Poland. We see in Beloit, in my district, ICE has been known to sit in the parking lot of the Head Start program. I doubt there are a lot of domestic terrorists in that Head Start classroom. This is what's happening with this agency. So we've had great concern that not only are they going in a direction that's off the mission of why they're created, and by the way, this is the largest expansion we've had in federal government in most of our lifetimes, has been Homeland Security and ICE. But now what we're seeing right here in our own community, them doing what they're doing and getting almost no information. I can tell you my office have been keeping track of the various calls we've had. We have called to try to get a hold of the Madison folks. We've called the Milwaukee office. We've called the Chicago office. We've talked to folks in Washington. We've gotten several callbacks of telling us who else to talk to. They all point to someone else. We asked to set up a meeting today because I have to go back tomorrow to Washington. We asked for a phone call today. So far, we've been unable to get anything done. This isn't difficult. This is something they need to do. And I want to add, Sheriff Mahoney, I have tremendous respect. He is a very good friend, so I don't mind. I'm not singling him out of law enforcement. However, he and I have talked about this, and he and others have taken a very principled stance about how to deal, or better yet, not deal with ICE when they come into the community. But to not tell the sheriff you're coming in and doing raids, to not tell the Madison police that you're coming in, to not talk to your federal representatives along the way, is exactly what's wrong with this agency. They're increasingly rogue in their activities, and they're off the focus of why they're created. So I can tell you the very little information that they've given us, and trust me, it is very little. One, they couldn't release, we asked for the list of the names of who's been detained. They said they can only if they fill out a privacy release. They did not tell us if they gave them a privacy release. My guess is they didn't. Within 48 to 72 hours, they will publish a searchable list of names, date of births, and country of origins on their website to find people. When a detainee is brought to ICE custody, they're shown a video about their legal rights and given a list of pro bono attorneys, and they're claiming this was not part of a raid, just individualized, targeted enforcement. Well, a lot of us know what comes out the other end of a cow, right? This is clearly something they did to try to send a message, except the message was never shared with local law enforcement, local elected officials, and community leaders. I just want to let you know that as a federal representative, we're going to do everything we can to rein in an agency, and sitting on appropriations, I'm really going to make sure we do our best to look at what they're doing and make them answer to us. When I'm in Washington this week, we are going to demand they come to us, or we will go to them to have a longer conversation about this. But it's the fact that we can't get information as your federal representatives is also very, very frustrating. So again, I just want to commend the organizations that are doing all this work, the law enforcement in this community that has again stood by the community citizens on this issue, the lawyers, the untold heroes really who are doing all the representation on this. There are a lot of folks working very hard around this, but to see a room like this full, when I know you have to park 3 or 4 blocks away at this point, says a lot about where this community is around this. And rest assured, we will do everything to get more answers and try to make sure that they understand this is not a community that wants people to not respect people's rights. And we will do everything to make sure that ICE has a melted presence in this area.
Quería hacer como un breve resumen, porque voy a hacer lo mejor que pueda yo. Pero más que todo, queríamos extender la presencia para el alcalde de la ciudad de Madison y también a Congressman Pocan aquí, porque creo que es importante que nuestra comunidad sepa que no estamos solos en estos esfuerzos, que ellos están haciendo lo más que puedan para que las cosas como están no continúen. El alcalde estaba mencionando cómo va a una reunión después de estar aquí con alcaldes de varias ciudades y van a platicar sobre esta situación de migración acá en Madison. Igual, Congressman Pocan está diciendo que ahorita se están decidiendo qué es lo que se va a hacer con fondos a Estado federal. Eso es algo que él lo va a mantener bien en mente. Él no cree que es responsable que ICE venga acá en la área sin comunicarse con nuestro sheriff del condado de Dane. Él lo considera completamente ofensivo, igualmente como lo consideramos nosotros acá. Yo creo que es muy, muy importante, yo sé que Fabiola quiere decir unas palabritas después al final y quiero que ella las diga, pero es muy importante que no nos sintamos humillados, que nos sintamos que esto nos da más fuerza para seguir luchando, para seguir alcanzando nuestros sueños y para seguir siendo parte de esta comunidad. Les cuento, aquí en Centro estamos muy comprometidas para hacer su hogar, a donde podemos dar apoyo en lo que necesita. También estamos muy comprometidos en que seamos el lugar que podemos conectarlos con esfuerzos estatales, como los de Christine Newman Ortiz y Voces de la Frontera. Así que por favor manténganse bien conectados y sepan que tienen el apoyo de toda nuestra comunidad. Por favor, vaya a las 2, ¿verdad?
A las 2 de la tarde el domingo aquí.
Okay.
Junta de voces, pero abierto a la comunidad.
Sí, Christine me está diciendo, este domingo acá en Centro va a haber una reunión de 2 a 4 de la membresía de Voces para hablar sobre los pasos que vamos a seguir después, acciones que tal vez vamos a tomar aquí nada más, no solo en Madison, pero en los diferentes capítulos acá en el estado. Así que si no están registrados con Voces de la Frontera, los invitamos este domingo acá en Centro a las 2 de la tarde. Y Fabiola la voy a pasar aquí.
Para cerrar, ¿no?
Sí, y después vamos a tomar un poco de preguntas.
Yeah. Ok, una vez más me disculpo porque ya saben que no puedo hablar muy bien en público. Solamente les quería decir a nuestra comunidad, como dijo Karen, somos fuerte, comunidad unida y organizada. Entonces, el trabajo que yo estoy haciendo es del condado. Estoy dando mi número para que las familias se comuniquen conmigo. no solamente si alguien está arrestado o si tienen cualquier pregunta, cualquier inquietud. Entonces yo lo que hago es comunicarme con las demás agencias, con este equipo grande que tenemos aquí, están viendo, y tratar de responder a sus preguntas y tratar de poder ayudar en lo que podamos. En cuanto se refiere a la ayuda del condado, yo no puedo ofrecer ayuda legal, no soy abogada de inmigración, pero a las familias que tienen a sus seres queridos que están detenidos, yo voy a trabajar con las familias para proveerles si tienen gastos, tienen alguna otra preocupación, especialmente este apoyo moral, este apoyo que necesitamos. Vamos a tener el 26 de octubre aquí en el centro de 1 a 5, conozca sus derechos, y también estaciones donde vamos a tener diferentes ayudas y diferentes organizaciones dando información. Entonces, muy importante, ya lo vamos a estar diciendo esto, gracias a la movida, como siempre, vamos ahí a decir lo que está pasando, y también a los otros medios. Muchísimas gracias, yo creo que ya mi número ya lo saben, y bueno, a seguir adelante, y como dijo Christine, sí se puede. Gracias.
Yeah, so I think we're going to open it for questions in Spanish or English.
Okay, this is for the City of Madison Police and possibly for Sheriff Mahoney also. What is the proper protocol if ICE, Sheriff Coble said that ICE never contacted them about this? If they had contacted them, what is the protocol? Does the city police do that? And Sheriff Mahoney, you also, if they had contacted you before, what then do you guys do?
So the question was if we could speak a little bit about the protocols between ICE and local law enforcement, be it the sheriff or Madison Police, like what should have happened. La pregunta es cuáles son los protocolos cuando se trata de el contacto entre ICE y la policía acá localmente. ¿Qué es lo que debería haber pasado? ¿Cuáles son los protocolos que deberían de haber ellos hecho si planeaban venir acá a la área? So I don't know.
Una pregunta.
Sí, ya vamos después de esta, señor. Deme chance, ¿ok? Perdón.
Thank you for that question. As it relates to the Sheriff's Office, the importance of communicating with local law enforcement, as the Mayor mentioned, as well as Congressman Pocan, we know our communities better than any other law enforcement agency, most certainly better than our federal law enforcement partners. And to enter our community armed with weapons, ballistic vests, raiding our community without notifying local law enforcement puts our community at risk. Not a week ago, an individual entered a business and threatened members of that community, and law enforcement responded with speed and accuracy. And this could have occurred again in our community, but at the hands of ICE.
So what do you guys do then? I mean, if they did contact you, what would your role be? Would you assist them in
Our role is to communicate with our law enforcement officers so that they are aware that there's a federal agency carrying out their mission, not our mission. We are not immigration law enforcement officers. They are federal agents, we are local law enforcement. And the main reason is so that we're not charging into a situation when we get a 911 call from our community that there are people in our neighborhoods with weapons. Our immediate response there is to protect our community, and it could have resulted in a tragedy.
Entonces lo que dice el sheriff que típicamente si ICE avisa que va a venir, él tiene la responsabilidad de decirle a sus agentes del condado que están aquí, pero que ellos están haciendo, tratando de obtener sus objetivos, no los objetivos del condado y ni de los objetivos del sheriff, pero que ellos están aquí haciendo lo que federalmente los han mandado a hacer. Eso no significa que eso es bueno, él no está al mismo lado de eso, pero dice que eso es lo que hubiera pasado. Ya, señor.
O sea, la pregunta que voy a hacer es concreta. O sea, con la información que acabo de obtener del alcalde, está demostrado que los agentes de inmigración violaron la soberanía de la alcaldía de Wisconsin.
So he's saying he wants to ask a concrete question. Oh, I think the
Y
mayor.
esto se debe de tipificar como un delito. Pero lo más grave es que los agentes de policía, o sea, no actuaron en defensa de esta comunidad. O sea que durante 3 días dejaron que la violentaran. Entonces, eso no se puede dar. O sea, aquí lo que procede es de que busquemos cómo poder demandar a los agentes de inmigración por andar violentando a las comunidades, toda vez que no se informa y se está violando un protocolo de ellos mismos. O sea, porque si nos dejamos de que sigan haciendo lo que les vengan a ellos, si traen una lista de que van a buscar a personas que son delincuentes, correcto, pero aunque se están brincando las instancias locales, o sea, quien deben de detener a esos delincuentes son las propias agencias de seguridad de aquí del municipio o del condado, pero todo se ha distorsionado y lo que ha servido es para golpetear a nuestra comunidad, y toda vez que se está diciendo de que este ataque a la comunidad latina inmigrante es porque se está trabajando políticamente para apoyar a un determinado candidato, sabedores de que el otro está por abajo de las preferencias. Pero, o sea, lo que se debe de recalcar es de aquí que ICE violentó la soberanía del ayuntamiento, que los policías no actuaron en defensa de la comunidad, o sea, dejaron que se siguiera violentando. Ahí termino.
Sí. So his question is that by ICE coming into town, they really violated the sovereignty of our city, and that what should be the response from law enforcement? That are we going to let them come and kind of take advantage of our community, or should we do something to really respond to somebody, to a group of people that have offended us as a community?
And that MPD should
Yeah.
maybe have arrested ICE.
Like you didn't protect the community. Yeah, you let them do their thing for 3 days.
You can't have one. I can take it.
You want me to take it?
I'll do my elected official duty and take the hard question. So, gracias, señor Campa, por decirlo. Creo que los que estamos aquí estamos de acuerdo con usted. Yo por eso soy miembro del Consejo de la Ciudad de Madison, es porque yo creo en la soberanía de nuestra ciudad de Madison. So for those of us who are standing here, I think that we all are with you. We believe in the sovereignty and local government. That's why I'm an elected official in the local government, and we have state government. So, pero es algo con lo que tenemos que realmente continuar luchando para que eso sea la verdad. La realidad es que vivimos en un sistema federal, son agentes del gobierno federal, podemos hablar de cuáles son nuestras aspiraciones, pero también queremos ser realistas y decir la realidad. Yo no le voy a estar diciendo aquí que es verdad que un departamento de policía de Madison pueda arrestar a un agente federal. No es la realidad en la que vivimos hoy en día. Creo que eso es vuelta a ser importante. Si queremos cambiar esas cosas, los que podamos votar, votemos por candidatos que vayan a cambiar esas cosas. Pero la realidad de hoy en día es que un agente federal es un agente que tiene bajo la ley federal el derecho de entrar en nuestra ciudad, y que nosotros no somos una ciudad que puede simplemente poner unas murallas y cerrar la ciudad. So what I was saying is that I think many of us believe that yes, we should have local control, and that the local government, certainly I'm a local elected official, so I believe in local control. But the reality that we live in today is that these are federal agents, that we live under a federal system that allows them to come into our city without any authorization by local government to be able to come into our city, and that if we want to change that kind of policy, then what we need to do is get out the vote and make sure that we vote for people who are going to support us in changing those kind of policy. But the reality of today is that we cannot stand up and say simply, oh, local law enforcement should have arrested ICE agents, because that's just not the way the law is today. There are ICE agents from the federal agency, and they can come in our city. So we also need to be truthful and real in what we say where we are today, and be aspirational in where we want to be tomorrow. And certainly many of us are fighting the fight today, and also the aspirational fight for tomorrow. That's my answer.
Again, thank you for that question. I believe that as it relates to the sheriff, and I don't want to speak for Chief Koval or Chief Roman, but I think my expectations moving forward is that as law enforcement leaders, we need to meet with our local U.S. attorney, the U.S. attorney headquartered here in Madison that oversees our federal agencies, because ICE, as we've seen this past several days, has acted out of character. Maybe not for their agency, but out of character for the partnership of federal law enforcement. When we look at our other federal partners, the FBI and others, they work in cooperation and notify us and work with us to ensure the safety of our communities. What occurred Friday and this weekend and continues to occur is putting our communities in jeopardy. It's challenging the trust that we have worked so hard to establish in our immigrant communities, and rest assured we won't let this go unnoticed or unaddressed.
Solamente porque creo que es una respuesta muy concreta a lo que se preguntó, que el alguacil Mahoney acaba de decir de que él se va a comprometer a hablar con el abogado fiscal del Estado sobre los acuerdos de cooperación entre las diferentes ramas, porque sí ha ocurrido una violación de esos acuerdos cuando eso no ha pasado con otros. Entonces sí se va a dar seguimiento a eso, y yo sé que cuando se lo mencioné al congresista Mark Pocan, él dijo también, porque el Congreso también se encarga de una agencia federal. Creo que eso es muy importante, y creo que lo que dijo Giselle de que se presentaron como inmigración es otro, como policía, es otro tema que se debe dar seguimiento también. And also so I was just translating what was said, and I know that Congressman Pocan had also committed to follow up on that. And also just the point about presenting themselves as police. I feel like they, in the past, ICE had tried to present them, or not tried, they conducted a raid many years ago as OSHA, a mandatory OSHA training, and because of pressure, they said, no, you are undermining our mission, so you have to stop pretending to be somebody else. And so I think that's just another important point to make. But I just wanted to address another point that I think is really important. I think we have two broken systems. And one is the immigration system, and one is the criminal justice system. Yes. We have a situation of being the wealthiest country in the world with human rights violation of mass numbers of people incarcerated, and a for-profit prison industry that's now 70% booming. It's a booming industry, and it's yes, you know, and deaths, and I guess I just want to, I feel like part of what we think is important when these things happen is that we really recognize that I think what's happening now, it's just made everything more clear because things have gotten bigger. The problem hasn't changed really, it's always been here. It's just bigger and more clear. And I would say what makes it more clear now is also that deportations is really not the answer. Yes, people should be held accountable for their actions, especially when you're young. Yeah, you make mistakes, and that's how you learn. It's called life, it's called experience, and you learn from that. And what we need is a society that invests in our community, invests in jobs, invests in schools, has compassion, has institutions that are not built on hatred of the other, but are built on basic human rights. What is a human right? A human right is that people move, people migrate. They have in the past, in the present, and in the future. And that we should recognize that there are inherent rights of people to migrate. And yes, should anyone, regardless of whatever paper immigration status they held, be held accountable for the actions? Yes, so they can get to a better place. And deportations do nothing to help a community. And we also have to recognize that people who are being labeled as criminals, they're people too. They're people too, and we need to get everyone to a better place. So solamente que no nos dividimos entre inmigrante y criminal. Primero, sabemos cómo categorizan a la gente, pero una sociedad con compasión, donde nos levantamos unos a cada uno. La deportación no trae nada bueno.
All right, we'll take one more and then we'll probably break and everybody can ask individual questions. But
well,
John.
I'd like to direct this to Christine, but anyone else can answer.
Alrighty.
Just to follow up kind of where you said it was political, in thinking about the places where the raids now, they're mainly Democratic strongholds or leaning Democratic, but they weren't in Waukesha County. And other places that also have a Latino presence and are Republican leaning or Republican households. I mean, I'm taught not to just think everything is a coincidence, but it's just, I'm curious.
I mean, I'm usually one of the first people to like push away from any kind of like politicization because, you know, immigration has been held back for so long because it's been used that way. But I will say I do feel, because we've seen it in the past, that it has been used as a tool to intimidate, to scare, in the same way they want to use the census, right? Don't open the door, don't talk to people, and you will not be counted. Same thing. Because we know we have mixed immigration status. We know this affects an entire community when these things happen. I mean, Waukesha, it is not surprising that Waukesha, first of all, we just had a Day Without Latinx and Immigrants of 10,000 people march. We have the chief of police there to took a policy against limiting ICE collaboration, clear stance of no 287G. Waukesha is one of those places where Latino vote actually could make a difference in a period that we're in. It actually could, in an assembly race. And obviously we know statewide the Latino vote can make a difference. Our margins are thin, they can make a difference. And we know our community needs information. And so I would say that it's not surprising. Waukesha fits right into that category.
Has ICE contacted any of the police law enforcement people yet?
One question, please. Yeah. I'd like to know about how many people is in ICE hand right now in Madison, concretamente, and how many people is in ICE hand in all state Wisconsin.
Sí.
After that, what's the situation of them?
Sí, y estábamos hablando sobre esos números antes, pero acá concretamente tenemos como 12 personas que tenemos la información acá en Madison, pero todavía estamos respondiendo a llamadas para ver qué es lo que está pasando y cuántas más tal vez hayan. Otra cosa que mencionamos es que en la mañana es que tal vez hay personas que no se han contactado con Fabiola, por eso voy a mencionar el número otra vez. Yo sé que ya lo hemos mencionado bastantes veces, pero 608-242-6260. Si se ha tenido contacto con ICE, un familiar que han sido impactados por ICE, por favor contáctese con ella porque así vamos a tratar de ver qué es lo que se puede hacer. Ahora Christine Rafael tiene los números estatal y ella se puede sentar con ustedes después. Yeah, okay, I think we're gonna stop right here, but please feel free to stay and ask any other questions that you may wish. Thank you so much for coming.